Welcome, future masters. I recognize the classic trap. Thank you. So I had to set up the recording. Let me think. Rook takes. No, rook takes doesn't work. He's got a queen back there. That freak. Oh yeah, it almost works though. Karud ski. It almost worked. You jerk. Oh, I see. Knight takes d4 is the winner. In between move of check. Oh no, that doesn't. Oh, it's this one. This check is the one that gets him. Followed by this one. You suck. Right? Seems legit-ish, as they say. What does that do? If I take this, it's no big deal, right? I mean, that's whatever, but this check again is not a big deal in itself. King to G, queen to G2. We check him, and then what? Take here. Isn't that great, relatively speaking? If we check him here, oh, he's got queen to F3. Heck, you know, that's a really good move. I just don't see what I'm getting out of this. What in the hell was that? I don't know, it's kind of asking for it, to be honest. This doesn't help. He's just going to play rook takes pawn. And I'm under a nasty threat. And that doesn't help either. Takes. Beats me, man. I don't see what this does. It doesn't really seem to me to do anything. He goes to here. He just goes back. I'm like, whatever, dude. We're winning, sort of. End game, I don't know. Sometimes they're weird. I don't know, it seemed obvious, right? This seems obvious as well. I don't know. He can't stop it. Yeah, we can stop it that way, I suppose. Queen to here. I don't know, I mean, it seems mating. Take here is not really good. He's going to check me and eat my corrupt. Well, that's okay. I guess I'm peace up. Forget you, man. Queen check so fast to make your head spin. A classic zigzag technique. Easy money. This is the puzzle that you just saw the solution. It took me a few seconds longer to figure it out because it's different than how I actually learned it. Now, white played, this is really a bizarre opening too, but white played c4. And the original meeting, I don't know, of this trap happened, oh geez, like 40 years, almost 40 years ago. Could be 40 years ago. I'm not exactly sure. It was early 80s for sure. I played in chess clubs and played in chess tournaments. Saw it somewhere. And it was like, you know, guys were looking at a game or whatever, and I'm over there watching what's going on because I wasn't doing anything at the time. And you would find stuff like this at tournaments or also in chess clubs. The guy's like, oh yeah, you know, there's a trap in this same opening, blah, blah, blah. Because everybody knows something different than somebody else. You don't have exactly the same experience. So it's like, it's awesome because you get to learn these things. And this guy showed us this trap. It was very interesting, which was the same core of the trap, where we're going to exploit the fact that this knight can be taken because the bishop taking the queen removes the only real defender of this queen, and which looks ridiculous. Like, that bishop's not defending this queen. It is, but it's not obvious. So I looked in one of my books, actually one of my father's old books. It's an old book, probably from the 60s, I guess. And it has a bunch of old opening traps. And I could not find the correct opening that I was looking for, because that opening was a D pawn opening, and this is clearly not. This is clearly, if you go back, this is some kind of E pawn, you know, double king pawn, E4, E5. You know, could literally be a four knights. You know, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, or, you know, something along those lines, right? Or it could have been like, yeah, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, d5. Bishop to g5, d takes e4, knight takes e4, and then knight to d4. That could be the sequence of this opening. Very bizarre. And c4 just really has no point, except for it opens up this trap. So someone was using, this had to be some guy who knew the original trap, but he's completely camouflaged this D pawn opening trap concept into an artificially created E pawn opening to show you that this kind of the core concept is how it's done. So it took me longer to recognize that this was, you know, a possibility. I was used to seeing it from this D pawn configuration, so it's a transposition, but it's really an odd one that's really interesting, because when the bishop takes the queen, it leaves this check open that the only way to defend is to bring this knight back. The king can't go. The knight restricts the king, so the king cannot sidestep, shockingly, and we just chop suey. So when you saw me do the solution, I spent most of the time, when I saw this, I saw it. I go, oh, I better put the recording on this guy. And then there was the pattern recognition that took the most time. The moves were just obvious to me once I had recognized that I was looking at this old opening trap, which is one of the things that separates the posers from the actual good players. Is the poser comes in there and tries to make himself look like a superstar, all right? When a real player from the real world of chess is like, hey, look at this. This puzzle shows up, and this is actually, it's a much older trap. It's not from the 80s. I learned it in the 80s, and this is an old, probably well over 100-year-old trap. If it is a Nimzovich, if it's a Nimzo Indian like I think it is, it's got to be at least 100 years old. But I don't know for sure. I couldn't remember the specifics because it's kind of bizarre. You don't have to remember the specifics of the key position of the trap. You just have to remember the pattern recognition of the core element, and the rest of it takes over, which is what happened. You saw in the video is like bam, 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 bam. You don't remember specifically when you learned that 2 + 2 is 4, but you've mastered that concept so far back. Now, depending on your age, of course, but it's so early in your age, you can't know exactly when it happened, but you're a master of it, and it's just bam, 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 bam. You don't even think about it. So it's the same way. I didn't really think about it. I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to construct a position of one that's a very similar idea, but it's not the one that you're looking at here, where the original trap contains the bishop pin from G5. In the original trap where I learned this, let's put it that way. It's not the original trap. It's where I originally learned it, is that the G5 pin is ineffective because it just gets snapped by knight takes E4. I'm going to show you a similar position, not the exact one. So stick around after this, and I'm going to show you this position from the opening book. I'll be right back. All right, well, I found my old book. Actually, it was my dad's old book, and it had all these different traps. I couldn't find the specific one, but I did find one from this Queen's Gambit Declined that has the same idea of the enclosed queen that costs white the game because he perceived that something was true that it really wasn't. There's the bishop to G5 pin, which is a very useful pin and is very powerful, but you've got to be careful. And this one shows you what you have to look out for. In kind of this is the raw form that I mentioned in the second section. So knight takes pawn, E5, knight D4 to B5. Seen this stuff before. So he's supposed to play, like, I've seen this also in the Sicilian defense. This kind of position comes up where he's supposed to play knight back. But a lot of players are like, I don't want to go here. He's going to play bishop takes knight. My pawns will be wrecked. Don't worry about it. You get counterplay along the B file. And if he ever plays B5, you just shove A4 and you just eliminate it. So it's really more of a fear factor than anything else. You can also play queen to A4, pinning this pawn to this rook, but this is one of those things where it's a tomato. Are you kind of guy? And the book says knight A3 is like probably the standard quote book reply, but the alternate one for the more adventuresome player would be queen A4. Me, if I'm in this position, I'm going to play probably knight A3 because I don't know this opening. I don't want to get crazy, right? I haven't studied this specific opening, and I would do that before I would play queen to a4. But anyway, but since the book says queen to a4 is okay, you know, I might spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes of studying and go, queen to a4, that's the move to play. But at this point, I have not done any studying. I know in Sicilian defense, I've seen this exact move of knight ba3. So whatever. But white is a superstar. He realizes, hey, I've got this guy pinned. I can hammer this dude. And black is like, well, yeah, that's true, I suppose, but I see something that you may not have seen, Bobby Fischer. So white is okay. Well, actually, he's already lost the knight. But he sees, yeah, he's already gone down. His rabbit is in the hole, and, you know, this is not good. White sees knight takes knight check, which is fantastic because he's lining up queen takes d8. Hey, dude, it's check. You got to do something. You got to take this knight, right? Yeah, I guess so. Black is forced. I mean, it's check, so he can't. If he moves king to e7, he's destroyed, obviously. So he's like, yeah, I got to take the knight. I'll take it with the queen. What? So now this is different than the problem that started this whole thing, right? You're like, he didn't do that, but the key part is the same. This king is locked in with only one air hole, right? And so when white plays bishop takes queen, just like in the other problem that started this off, he gets hammered. And this is the core form of this trap, is this the bishop checks, and white has only one move. Well, he can resign, but he's not going to resign. He's like, I'm winning a piece. I'm not going to resign. Oh, I guess I should mention this also. The move that white is counting on is this. He's counting on this because white wants to unleash queen takes d8 and then adios muchacho. Okay, this was what white invested the knight for. He invested the knight for this position because he's going to be in exchange ahead, for example, right here. So he's got, what, 3, 7? He's 2 pawns and a rook for a knight. This is what white had envisioned in his dreams of Garry Kasparov, okay? Or Magnus Carlsen. Sorry. He said, I'm going to beat Magnus. I'm going to take his knight with check. And Magnus would go, queen takes knight. What? You can't do that. Well, sure I can. You can have my queen. Oh, man, come on. Bishop check. Crud. And right here, black is just a piece ahead. Because he saw the weakness that white did not see when he initiated this combination. The combination of knight takes d5. So this is what white did not see when he should have played either queen to a4. With the queen, the book, the Stockfish says queen a4 is the best move, with knight to a3 being the second best. And it's really not good. So this is what he should play, because now this whole kind of combination, this becomes a threat. You know, knight takes d5 becomes a real threat. So plus, actually this move, queen a4, is a devastating move. He's threatening to check him, double check him on c7 and chop the rook. Oh man, this does not look good, right? Knight takes d5. Why would you take with the pawn? I don't know, you might, if he takes the knight, beats the heck out of me, man. Why wouldn't he play knight takes? Let's see. Computer says bishop takes knight. Huh, that's a good move. Oh man, that's a really good move. That's why. Knight takes d5 is terrible. Look at this move. This is a fantastic move. I'm going to play queen takes knight. If he plays pawn takes, which he's going to play pawn takes. So he has to take this with check. I gotcha. Oh, no, not again, right? Queen takes? He can't do that. Oh, yes, he can. Because he can't take the queen because bishop takes queen. Wow, he's screwed. See the trouble you get into when you play this crazy stuff. So that's the dealio. But that's what he's supposed to play. White is a superstar. Plays knight takes d5, and now you see the house crumbles. Man, this thing is a vicious opening. This is a vicious opening. That knight takes f6 check looks so devastating, doesn't it? I have played moves, not this move specifically, but I have played the queen takes fill in the blank that broke an attack. And the guy will look at you, it's like they're completely, they have this blank stare, and it's like, you can't play that. Why, yes, I can. So it's a tremendous move. You uncork a queen takes f6 move on a guy. In that tournament, on that day, he's never the same. He won't be the same guy, that's for sure. He's like, oh, crud. So there you go. And that other one was really terrific too. So this is the dealio that it just showed up in my thing of my daily routine. And I thought, wow, this would be a really interesting kind of lesson and explanation of studying chess and what happens when you do it right. You learn these things. Well, I mean, it was like I learned it accidentally. I didn't learn this on purpose. I was just at either a chess club or a chess tournament, and I can't remember. It was basically about 40 years ago. So one of those things that's like you see this and wow, that's interesting. That's a really cool idea. Never got to use it. Well, except today in a puzzle. So, hey, you never know. So, but it came from a regular opening. I don't waste my time on garbage openings like the Stafford Gambit or any of these other goofy whatever. That's not me. If you want to go and waste your time on esoteric chess openings, hey man, it's your time. Do whatever you want. Me, I'm a practical guy. And if you want to win tournaments, you're going to have to learn practical chess. You have to play good moves and not set up these cheap shot traps that pay off 1 out of 1,000 games. It's just not worth it. You end up looking like a fool, where the good players are out there cashing daily. It's not a cheap shot game. If you play the cheap shot game of chess, you'll be a garbage player for the rest of your life. So it's up to you, man. You got to be the best you can be. Me, I'm very good. I won a lot of tournaments. I beat a lot of masters. So many, I can't remember how many it is, which is a tremendous situation to be in. So hopefully this helped you. A blast from the past, as they say. And I'll see you guys later.